Hey, good morning, Dr. Weiner. How are you?
Good. I am so nervous that this is. Oh, I just hope this works out this time. For
It'll
the
probably be fine.
well, I hope so. For the viewers, David and I recorded this interview a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, and it didn't record right, and so we've had tech support try to fix the recording software, and I am just keeping my fingers crossed that it's working right now. But anyways, how the heck are you, David?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Let's
Other than the technical issues.
Man, I get nervous because, we spend probably 20 minutes talking, and then
It's
I
okay.
go back and open up the file and find out that it's not working. That is one of the
Hey,
most
these things
frustrating things.
happen.
Yeah, they
It's not a
do.
problem.
Well, okay. Well, and I don't mean to be redundant with you because we're
Sure.
asking you the same questions as we did the last time we met, but this will be all new for the customers that are listening to this. But why don't you talk to me a little bit about and by the way, David, you are the CEO of Human Touch. Lest I forget to introduce you properly. And Human Touch was the very first massage chair brand that I carried when I first started my business back in 2005. My very first massage chair I owned was an HT 125 from Human Touch back in 2001 or 2002.
Wow. Yeah.
And uh, and so you guys have been around a long time. I guess it's been 40 years. And
Hmm.
you were the first ones that I was involved with when I started. You were pretty much the only game in town when I started.
Right.
Some other ones came into play as time went on, obviously, and now it's become an extremely competitive and big market. But
Right.
why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of Human Touch and how long you've been with them, and that'd
Sure.
be great.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Dr. Weiner. Certainly appreciate the opportunity. As you said, Human Touch has been around now. This is our 40th year in business. It started relatively small with a single owner who originally imported massage tables. Was really how the business started years ago. And it was essentially a robotic table that was brought in and sold for years. And then the chairs developed after that. And in the 90s and through the early 2000s, the business grew a lot. Mostly pre-internet, when you went to see where things were kind of cool and interesting and new products and gadgets, you would go to the Sharper Images of the world and the Brookstones of the world, and that was really the place in town. And massage chairs in many ways, I think, got their roots at least here in the U.S. through a lot of those retail placements during that time. And so Human Touch grew quite a bit. It was ultimately became the ownership changed, became owned by private equity for a number of years, and it's still owned by institutions today. But of course, the business has evolved a lot since then.
Oh yeah.
As you say, we were certainly the first, and we like to think we helped to grow the category here in the U.S. But in recent years, it certainly has changed. In some ways, there are certainly more players, there are more options, there are more products, but there's also a much larger awareness now, and I think much more interest broadly in the category, which I think is ultimately good for the industry and good for us. And certainly we're excited about where the future is going as well.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing that's always been quite unique about your chairs is the design. You, I know you have, and I want you to speak to this, but you have a design team here in the United States.
We
You
do.
have an engineering team here in the United States, and your chairs have always been different looking. In other words, a more contemporary styling, a more like in the case of the old HT 125s and the 7120s,
Right.
more applicable to or more functional
Yes.
chairs. And so
Right.
maybe you could talk a little bit to that.
Sure. I mean, we have always engaged really since for the last dozen years, direct design resources for everything that we do. And certainly for like the 125 product that you mentioned, and for many years, a lot of the intent of our design was to look at these products in such a way that didn't compromise on performance, but ideally would fit into a normal living room or living environment to try to minimize, the aesthetic resistance factor that can exist in many homes. And we did that and have done that successfully for a long, long time. And we still have many products in our whole body massage chair line that are very much intended for products that function extremely well, but fit into environments. Of course, in recent years, we've extended that design capacity into more fully featured high-performance chairs as well. And certainly when you look at products like the Novo and our upcoming Super Novo, the design resources that we engage here are working hand in hand with our factories on assuring that really what we bring to market is something that is truly different in many respects from a functionality standpoint, but also something that is going to be just aesthetically stunning. And really have a broad appeal just from the appearance of the chair. I think the Novo is certainly a great example of that was kind of leading edge for a lot of that unibody factor when it was introduced.
Absolutely.
Certainly there's some other products that look more similar, but yeah, we've always taken great pride in the resource and the focus that we apply there. It's been a big part of our legacy and will continue to be a big part of what we do.
Well, I like that, of course, for those that are watching and are in the market for a massage chair, looking at massage chairs, most of the chairs come out of China, and the ones that come out of China have been designed and engineered by the factory. And so for a lot of massage chair companies, they basically look at a chair that's been designed by that factory. They like it or they don't like it. If they do, they have their label slapped on it, and the chair is imported under the brand name of that company that's importing it. But one thing that I like about Human Touch, and I've known this for years, going way back when I met Hans and David and the rest of the crew there, that you guys have there's a huge U.S. component to the design and engineering, and I really like that. It makes it unique. It makes it a very different product from maybe what I would consider the status quo look of massage chairs is. And I've always liked that about Human Touch, and people don't realize this, but Human Touch is a very big company. They've got a big headquarters in Long Beach, California. They have a warehouse that's just like huge, enormous, filled with chairs. They have an engineering department there where they test chairs, where you bring chairs in and test them. But and you've already addressed that to some degree, but I really want to bring that home, that there's a huge American part of all of this design.
Well, and as you know, Dr. Widener, as these products become more sophisticated with more and more features, and there's a level of complexity that has gone up with these. And so, we wholeheartedly believe that having our own engineering and technical resources here is absolutely critical. We work extremely closely with the factories, both on current products and in the launch of new product. In fact, the product we'll be launching in June here with the Super Novo is really the result of 2 years of development, and a lot of that has been specifically on working through all of the technical components that will make that chair fly. And as well in the U.S. The markets differ all over the world, but some of the challenges in the U.S. is it's become as well more regulatory focused as well. So having products that meet electrical requirements, that meet all sorts of emissions requirements, hazardous materials, what they call here in California Prop 65 compliant. We engage resources here that are probably rather unique in this industry to ensure that the product that we're bringing to market is fully compliant with all U.S. regulatory laws. And that ultimately is going to be safe and enjoyable for the customer to use. It's an important part of what we do and always has been.
Yeah, I like that a lot about Human Touch, and I appreciate that a lot about Human Touch. Now, you've mentioned the Super Novo a couple of times. I came and visited you maybe 2 months ago, and I sat in the chair, and we had an introductory video from, I can't even remember who it was, but it was Rachel or
it was probably Vicky at the time, yeah.
Oh, Vicky, and gave us the kind of an introductory demo of that chair, and it looks like it's pretty cool, and especially the Alexa component to it. But maybe you could introduce that chair to us and give us some details about it.
Well, the Super Novo, which will be launching actually toward the mid or late second quarter of this year, and it's getting now very close, is the next generation of our Novo platform, and that's why we call it Super Novo. From an aesthetic point of view, it takes a lot of the design cues from the Novo and then kind of builds upon that some more. We certainly believe it's a pretty stunning and slick chair. It has some performance capabilities that go beyond what is in the Novo from a programming standpoint, from a multi-speed of the robot, providing some new dimensions. I know a lot of folks like to call it 4D. It has some extended capabilities with the foot and calf and the ability to separate the foot massage from the calf massage within that, as well as some very elegant fingertip controls so that you can actually utilize the chair in a way that does not require utilizing the remote. It's just at your fingertips. And we spent a considerable amount of time really thinking about the most common things that a user would want to engage in that chair to make that function very simple. So it's extremely intuitive. But even beyond that, as you said, we're launching within this chair something that we call virtual therapist. And one of our objectives has always been to bring the experience of that chair as close to the experience of having a real therapist in your home as possible. So through a product that is Alexa enabled, and all of this technology is developed specifically here at Human Touch and uniquely here at Human Touch, we've tried to go beyond just what is normal voice control into something which, especially here in the U.S., and again, because we are oriented here in the U.S., we understand that this market space for having voice-controlled products goes well beyond just a unit-to-unit sort of thing, but really networking throughout your home. For many homes now, 40 million, I believe, or so, Alexa has now penetrated those homes and become part of a way of life for how you're scheduling your activities, to asking for your music, to controlling whatever devices you have. So we felt that integrating that into that network was a critical part of what we do. And so through Alexa and through Virtual Therapist in the Supernovo, you will essentially be able to operate that chair in a way that is much like talking to your favorite therapist, where the therapist essentially is asking you how tall you are, what kind of massage you like, how aggressive do you like your massage, what are the goals that you have for the massage that you want to enjoy, just like a conversation that you would have if you went into your favorite masseuse. And in turn, that chair essentially responds to you through the Amazon Alexa capability, and then automatically moves and function and operates the chair in such a way to cater to those specific things that you have. Through Virtual Therapist, the chair learns who you are, remembers who you are, so that the next time you come back, it's able to greet you and then have all of your preferences already there for you to pick up next time. So again, it's a step closer toward trying to replicate the exact experience you would have with a live person.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, and it was. I remember being quite impressed with it. I thought it was also impressive how simple the setup was. I think you just had to plug an adapter into the wall, and it worked. And it worked anywhere around the house, or the room that you're in at the very least. But I thought that was very, very interesting. I think this is kind of where, obviously, where technology is going, and I think we're going to see this maybe being a trend-setting feature for Alexa-type products. But I think it's fantastic. I think it's pretty
absolutely.
Cool.
And you're right. The setup is extremely simple. Many folks already have Alexa. All you need to do is get an Amazon device. They start for as low as $25 for a dot. And then essentially it's just a bridge that doesn't even attach to the chair. As long as it's just plugged into an outlet within the room that you're in, you're good to go.
Right. And for anybody that wants to see how that works, when Vicki did the demo, she kind of showed us in the demo how it works, so you can take a look at that video. It's on my YouTube channel and see how that works. Yeah. Where do you, as far as the industry as a whole, what are some of your maybe your concerns about the industry? What do you see maybe unfolding in the future in our industry? Because you have a unique perspective as the CEO of one of the big players in the industry. I'm interested to hear your take on things.
Right. Well, in many ways, Dr. Weiner, I think the nature of the industry now is probably as exciting or more exciting than it's ever been, just in terms of where the innovation and development and capability of these products has gone. Certainly harking back to the days of the HT125 that you have, to think about where that was and where we are now is really pretty interesting. I think what's been remarkable to me, and I've had an opportunity to work in several different consumer product industries, and generally the thing that you are fighting is the commoditization of certain technologies, where certain cool things get launched, and then over time you see this kind of race to the bottom for what people want to do just to get a basic benefit at a low price. What's interesting here is that there's a growing awareness for massage. And not only is there a growing awareness, the demand for these products tend to be at higher and higher performance products, which I think is good for the industry. It pulls for innovation. It pulls for more capable products to be out there. Certainly, I know you've seen that in your business, and certainly in the products you carry, the products just tend to get more and more capable. And so we're aware of that too. We also recognize that at this stage, for these types of products, it really requires the right engagement in order for a consumer to understand what it is that's being provided. And you can really do that, in my mind, through a couple of ways. You're either directly engaging someone through a demonstration and what is done, or we're relying on great advocates and engagers, even in the online space, with people like yourself, who I think are able to, be an expert and an authority in this space, have a great awareness of what these products can do, and speak favorably to the value proposition that they provide. And so, the right partners and points of sale for these products, I think, are getting harder and harder to find. I think traditional retail is getting tougher and tougher to navigate with a lot of these products, simply because most retail is geared towards selling, low ticket, simple, kind of known items, not more complex, capable items like the ones that we have.
Yeah.
So that's what we think a lot about, is ultimately how will the industry evolve in such a way in terms of how people come to understand and learn more about what it is that we do. And we think that's ultimately going to change quite a bit here in the next several years.
Yeah. Well, it is an extremely fast and furious marketplace right now, with the changes of online stores and very, very niche specific offline stores. I think it's very fluid. Like, you see big companies that have been around forever going under, or companies that have hurried to get a big piece of the pie, and then fall by the wayside because they couldn't sustain their infrastructure, or the infrastructure wasn't there to sustain whatever they were growing. And I think it's a very, very, it's not stable. It's certainly not a stable environment right now. I mean, when you see companies like Brookstone or Sharper Image or Sears go by the wayside, things are happening fast, and I think that I think you're absolutely right, speaking to that, as far as what's available in the market, and how the massage chairs are going to be able to be marketed effectively through online and through personal experience. I think that's going to be a real challenge.
Right.
And it's not. And I have a couple of stores, and I'll tell you, it's not a cash cow. I have to fight the online dealers all the time. I have to deal with sales tax. I have to deal with overhead. And it is not necessarily conducive to have an open store. I mean, online is the way to go, but how do you blend that live experience with that online, with the online deals? It's very, very difficult to do, and I don't know how it's going to get reconciled.
And I know you're not alone in trying to navigate a lot of that. And I've also heard you speak quite a bit about the same concern that we have, is as this category grows in awareness, there are more and more products that seem to be now merchandised, particularly online, that tend to be direct imports, tend to maybe highlight a lot of the features that are capable, and often at a very attractive price. But in some cases, it may not have the sort of back support or other elements that you would come to expect in a premium product like this. And so I think there's some cause for concern where some of the imported product that comes in that may appear to be a great value. I think the key is making sure that you are in fact investing in a product that is truly sustainable and will deliver exactly the experience you want, certainly while you're using it, and should something ultimately need to be addressed or repaired or improved in the product.
Yeah. Well, price is a big draw for people, and it's these cheaper chairs. I mean, we offer so much in terms of service and support for people who buy a chair from us, but bottom line is, can you beat this price, or can you give me a chair for this cheap? And it kind of takes away a bit of the value of the actual proposition. Like, you talk about a value proposition. The only thing that a lot of people want is the cheapest chair. And like, when you talk about customer support and innovative features and engineering input and all these things, that adds to cost, but it also adds to the quality of the product. And I think it's tough, because everybody wants to get a massage chair, but not everybody wants to get, I don't know.
Right.
All they want is the best deal, irregardless of support, warranty, whatever. It is a bit frustrating to us.
It is, right. And all you can really do is continue to educate your customer, right, and provide the sort of experience and engagement that folks like yourself do, which I think go a long way toward really sustaining the validity and I think the position of our industry. So folks like yourself, Dr. Widener, I think do a great service to all of us who have the opportunity to help the consumer with these products.
Well, thanks. And I got into this business in the first place to make money. Like that was my primary objective, was to supplement my income. And but over the years, I have come to be far more aware of how frustrating the industry can be for people that are price shopping and getting good deals. And then I get a call probably daily, at least one call daily, from someone that says, I got this chair, I got a good deal on it, I can't get the support on it, can you help me find, who do I call to get this part? And it's an endless line of people who have done the value shopping or the price shopping, but now are suffering the consequence of not getting the support they need. And so I think that's something Human Touch is good at, and there are companies that address that favorably, and I'm grateful for that. Makes my job easier. But
right.
anyways. Well, I think that's about all I can think of, unless you have anything else that you want to throw into the forum here. But I can't think of anything else to ask you. You've covered a lot of things very comprehensively.
Well, look, we I think touched on kind of the key things happening right now, and as always, we appreciate all that you do for Human Touch and all that you do for the industry, and we always look forward to the feedback as well. It helps us become a better company and serve customers better. So we've enjoyed the relationship with you for many years, and hope to continue to do that for many more years.
Well, thank you, David. We appreciate your company. And you just made me think of something. People think that I get paid for these interviews or paid for these reviews or paid for all the work that I do. I don't get paid a bloody dime. As a matter of fact, I wish I did, because the amount of time I put into these videos and reviews and articles and interviews, man, I do not get paid for this. So this is just a professional exchange of ideas and talk. So I really appreciate you being available for this as well. And I'm not paying you either. I'm not paying you.
Not as far as I know, right?
No, it's not yet. I don't know what
Absolutely.
I don't know what else.
Well, thanks for all you do, Dr. Weiner. It's very much appreciated, and all of your videos are extremely informative, and I personally find them very useful.
Well, thanks a lot, David. And I look forward to seeing the supernova out at the end of this quarter. It'll be great to see it.
Should be exciting.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Hey,
and let's hope this
care.
recording works this time, shall we?
All right.
All right.
Talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
David. See you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.